There we go. So I guess, well, so I saw on your story. Is your brother swimming also? Is that what
Oh yeah,
we?
my younger brother, he swims for a team locally near us.
Right. So, how's his swimming going? Is he looking for a potential spot on the Palestinian team? How old is he?
He's 17. I'm sure he would be more than down. He's been doing really well. He had
Mm.
like a serious health scare about a year and a half ago where he had a really
Right.
bad case of pneumonia.
Right.
So he was hospitalized for like a week, but he's
Right.
recovered really well and he's like finally gotten back to the point that he's going big best times again and like swimming really fast.
Right. So, what's his main event? And if you give me some context, what would you say his long course main event time would be, just to give me an
I
idea?
can I can pull up his long course times for you actually.
Yeah. Just
Let
because I'm
me
just so along with being the swimmer, I'm also kind of the advisor to the Olympic Committee. I do a bunch of stuff.
yeah.
Represent Palestine and stuff. So I just like to know my always get to know some swimmers possibly and
Yeah.
get them to the if they deserve it. We have a kid. He's also 17. He goes 53 to 100 free, which is not bad for a 17-year-old. Long course,
Oh,
100 free.
Wasim is not a. Okay, actually, this is really funny. I'm sorry. I'm just realizing when I
Mhm.
put his name down. His name is Wasim, but we call him Wazoo. So when I put
Uh-huh.
his name down for his membership for USA Swimming to renew it, I put under nickname Wazoo, and they actually
Yeah.
put it. He's gonna be mad when he sees that. But he's
Yeah.
59 in the 100 free, but his best events
Mm.
are in the 100
Mm.
breaststroke, he's 113, but that's from a few years ago. 200
Mhm.
breaststroke, he's 241. This is a long course.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so there's I mean, it's not like world level stuff. I mean, I would say we'll get to talk about this, I guess. But so there's a girl called Val. She swims for Auburn. She used to swim for Auburn. Her name is Val Tarazi. Both her and I, we won Arab Games. So it's actually the first time in history Palestine has gotten a medal in anything, because apparently us Palestinians were not that good at sports. But we're not. I mean, we're not. Uh, I mean, being a Palestinian, I mean, I got to study. I'm an aerospace engineer and all that, so I didn't. I swim, but I do other things at the same time. I mean, I'm not crazy. I go 5,600 back long course. That's about the peak, and I don't know if I'll ever go back to that. But yeah, anyways, that's it. Like we're not going 54s, 53
yeah.
long course, 100 back. But if you do know any Palestinians that are gonna push these numbers and probably gonna qualify um, an A standard but can't make the US team, that's where we're looking for these guys. And you're probably one of those people with the connections that know somebody who might be an Arab here and there.
I
So I
may
think you
know
could
a
play a
few
crucial.
people.
Yeah, yeah. So
There's a lot of Palestinian swimmers who are competing in the U.S. who I think would love the opportunity.
exactly, and that's where I'm very happy to meet you, and see where we can get people who deserve a spot to represent Palestine, and rather than just not compete at all.
Yeah.
Um, but they do have to deserve it. So somebody that's, if there's already a bar, you got to be above the bar. You can't really,
Oh
just
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. So I'll explain to you, of course, how we qualify and that kind of stuff. For Paris. So for Paris, it's pretty much done, the qualifications and well, unless you make an A standard, and I don't know if you've seen the A times for
They're pretty
Paris.
fast. There's some really fast A standards. There's some of them that haven't changed very much, But I think like the
Mhm.
50 free cut is like almost under 22 now, which is crazy.
So look, like I mean, there used to be a B cut, and that's what kind of the little countries used to aim for. So the B cut used to be 55.9 on your back. Okay, that's something that's, for somebody going 56, high 56, low, 57, you'll be like, okay, I got it. I'll go for it. There's no more B cut. There's an OCT, which is Olympic consideration time, and that's like only slightly slow. I think it's 2% or something slower than the A cut. And the A cut itself, I mean, if you look at the worlds and stuff, you'll have like three people make the standard. So a lot of these little countries will be really underrepresented in the next Olympics. They'll only take a couple people. Like countries like Egypt who usually go with 14 people, will have like three. And so Palestine will only have two because we have quota spots for that. Anyways, we'll definitely talk about that. But yeah, yeah. So it's really nice, by the way, what you're doing with your channel and stuff. You're
Thanks.
trying to get there. I appreciate the hustle. I really do. I really do.
I've been
You're trying to
putting
get with
a
the
lot of effort into it.
what do you study? Do you go to uni now?
So I go to Cal State East Bay, which is like a California university, about an hour from where I live, and I do communications and journalism there. But
Okay.
I'm
So
transferring hopefully to a better school to do my master's degree in journalism.
okay. Okay. And you like swimming, I guess?
I do. It's
Okay.
definitely the thing I know most about. But
Hmm.
I'm currently in the process of setting up an interview with. Oh, I'm sorry. My computer connected to a different mic. That's why everything's been so weird. Let me bring this a bit more
Yeah.
forward. Okay, there we go. I don't know why. I'm sorry. Just one
No worries.
sec. I don't know why it did that. I was wondering why, like, before the interview. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alright, there we go. Oh, okay. That's much better. I don't know why earlier, like, my mic was really low volume and I was so confused. Um, and then
Having
I
more than
noticed
one
my.
mic. Yeah.
Yeah, it does that. I noticed my other mic that is exactly the same kind of mic had its light on, and I'm
Hmm.
like, wait a second. Oh my god, what was I talking about?
Yeah, you're setting up an interview with somebody.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get into doing more like non-swimming. Not that I don't love swimming. Like it's definitely my biggest passion. But we have a family friend who's Palestinian, and he's running for office in a town like about an hour and a half from us. And now he's running for like the county, like
Yeah, yeah,
the
something.
council
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the county. Like he's running for like more and more higher level offices, and I'm gonna set up an interview with him to try to get like more experience doing
Yeah.
non-swimming
You know
interviews and
what?
have more
I,
stuff in my
I I like
pedigree.
I want to say I like the fact that you're I mean I've seen on your channel you've interviewed some quite big swimmers. Congratulations on that. That's
Thanks.
really cool. What about coaches?
I've been really lucky. There's a lot of really good coaches who've sat down with me. A lot of like of the highest level coaching
Yeah,
talent that we have in the U.S. have sat
yeah,
down with me. Like the head coach for University of Virginia, who's won like the last three national
yeah.
championships. I got to talk with him in November, and the head coach at North Carolina State, whose team's always in like the top five. I got to chat with him last year.
Mhm.
There's been a lot of
It's
coaches that I've been able to talk to.
yeah. And it's usually with a lot of these videos or podcasts or whatever, it's like you got to make a highlight or something of that they say, and you put it as like a motivational quote that they say, and then that's usually how you bring the people, and it's like like he'll say like, okay, so what's your secret to success? And he goes, well, Here's what you do. You wake up, you do three turns, and every time you do a turn, you do it again. You know, and if it's somebody recognizable, and you keep that clip, you know, and you've got I think Nathan Adrian, I think once, you know, he's probably
Yeah,
said something really cool, and so you take that clip and you put it on as like a stitch somewhere, either on YouTube or on Instagram, and it's like a motivational thing. I think that's where, at least where I like to go see it, you know, all these, you know, a short clip of something he said or a sentence. I think that would be fantastic. And you know, I think that would bring a lot of people to be like, oh, who's this guy talking? Because you got Brett Hawk, you got
yeah.
that, what's his name? The other guy doing, he was a swimmer also. He does this
The
stuff.
the the swim guys.
Not the swim swam guys. He does commentary on
Oh, Kyle
videos.
Sockwell. I think that's who you're thinking of.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
him. He's
He's
pretty funny.
yeah. You know, that's kind. You know, they're and Brett Hawk always has his stuff going on. So yeah, no, it's interesting. It's interesting. I wish you the best of luck in that.
I've always like
Um,
tried to like carve myself this niche of having that level of professionalism and that like and I take a lot of time before each interview and I like do in-depth research as much as I can about the person I'm talking
yeah,
to because
yeah,
part of me feels like I owe them that at least because they're like taking the time to sit down and talk with me.
yeah,
But I always try to have like a level of like silliness in what I do. Like when
yeah.
I post, I don't know if you saw it, and I posted a video about like Sarah Schoistrom and how dominant she
Mm,
is, and
yeah.
I ordered like the goggles that she wears, and I wore them in the video, and I was like, I like to have like some level of
Yeah, that's
fun.
the that's it. I think with how now social media is, they need short, they need funny, and they need, you know, just something they can scroll by really quickly.
Oh yeah,
And that's the thing, is it's a strategy on what you post. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's not easy, and also the swim community is small. You know, it's not as huge as other communities, but uh, there's a lot. There's always improvement. You know, and like in swimming. So yeah, but it was really nice for me. I think I don't know how I realized you were Palestinian. That's really cool. But yeah, supporting the homeboys. You know what I'm
I've been
saying?
wanting to do interviews with other Palestinians just because I like talking to other Palestinians. It's a lot of fun for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I mean, you're in America and I'm in Dubai. We're supposed to be in Palestine. So
Yeah.
there we go. That's a struggle. I mean, the struggle is the fact that, maybe sometimes you feel like you don't have a home. I don't know, maybe you do feel like you have a home, but loss of identity and all that, that's a struggle. Something that we have to face. And part of my role as a Palestinian athlete is to I can't bring politics in the game, but I kind of do at the same time. I'm Palestinian, so it's even carrying the flag is a problem. Like in Paris, the upcoming Olympics, I'm running for athlete commission, right? And I'm gonna bring a 4 foot, like a 7 foot flag and just stick it in the hole, and like just the biggest flag because it's illegal to carry a flag, a Palestinian flag in Paris.
Oh really? That
So there we go. I'm gonna shove it down somebody's throat.
yeah.
Okay. So anyways, so this kind of stuff is stuff we do. We show that we are there, talk to the news. We're trying to be, we just want to compete, nothing else. And we have the right to compete. We're also people.
Yeah.
But you'll be surprised with the amount of political questions we get. And sometimes, like one of the times, I was like, "Did you even watch me swim?" Like, you just want to ask me some. I'm happy they didn't watch me swim. No, but yeah, I just got a lot going on, so I just gotta. But yeah, it's more of a situation because with the current situation, you would imagine, you know, if I do this thing, it goes Palestinian swimmer does this, and then it just ruins it on all the Palestinians. So it's quite a big, um, let's say, honor to be Palestinian representing Palestine, So, but I can't fuck up. So
It's always like whenever I'm watching any sort of like Olympics or World Championships, I always like cheer a little extra hard when I see the flag pop up in somebody's name.
yeah,
I've definitely by accident like cheered extra hard for like somebody from Jordan or United Arab because all the
yeah.
flags are so similar.
No, no, no. I don't like people who kind of have similar flags to ours because they're all acting like they are, especially the Jordanian flag. I mean, it looks like the Palestinian flag. I feel bad for these guys. They're like literally like just like they're just there. It's like Malta. That's like Malta. Like I mean, nothing's wrong with Malta, but it's just there.
There's so
No,
many like flags that are like almost exactly the same.
yeah,
I feel like you look at like Australia and New Zealand and a lot of those oceanic countries and all the flags are like
yeah.
blue and like a British cross and like a couple of stars.
Yeah,
And
well,
that's
the reason why the Arab flags are pretty much the same is because the person that did them was British, and this is while they were giving out the colonies. So Palestine and Jordan are quite the same because they're kind of the same colony from the British. And if you notice, the color schemes are the same. So we didn't make our flag, we didn't name our country, we didn't draw the lines. So, anyways, yeah. And that's pretty much it. Is there something you wanted to do?
I've got a couple of questions to run through. These just stuff that I was when I was like reading about you and researching about you
Yeah,
that like
yeah.
that I was curious about. And it's the one of the first thing I want to ask you about. This is something that I ask basically any athlete that I talk to from a country that typically isn't known for swimming is
Mm.
what it means for you to be a national record holder for your country. Like to like
Mm.
be a national record holder because it's obviously a lot less common for like Palestine or like in December I talked to somebody about it who was from like South Africa, like these countries that aren't typically as well known for
Mm.
athletics in general.
Uh, I mean, at first it was pretty cool because it's like, oh my God, since the creation of this country, nobody's ever gone this fast. But for me, I'm just focused on I want I, it's more than just about times with Palestine specifically. You're not just going there. It's for yes, you're going there to swim, but you're on some type of political. People don't care about your swim. They just wait for you outside to ask you some questions. So, no, but it's cool. I mean, it's always an honor. It's not something I've ever told anybody, really. Or I mean, of course, on the CV when you need a job, you got to tell these things. But it's not something that I mean, I'm happy about it, but it's I'm just happy to swim, really. I'm not worried about even there's like I'm an engineer, for example. I have my degree hanging somewhere in the house, but that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna tell you that. Yeah, so I'm not worried about that. It's just cool sometimes, but didn't
Fair
think
enough.
about
It's
it.
a pretty relaxed way to go about things.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good question, though. Yeah, that's a very good question.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And then you talked about it earlier, the athlete commission for Paris, and I'm wondering if you can just like elaborate on what you'll be able to do and what the process is to be a part of that. athlete commission, like what'll actually happen for it?
So if you get elected, you'll be a member of the IOC. Being a member of the IOC is a very big deal. It means you kind of have a say in that. No Arab athlete has ever been a member of the IOC. There are Arabs. One of them is the uh, like the president of Qatar, like the main guy for
Yeah.
Qatar, like the peer. And the king of Jordan is a member of the IOC. Like that's the level that you're at when you're a member. And you have some 24-year-old kid, from Palestine. That's a complete insult to the commission. So that's where I'm going for. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just there to, I want to represent not just Palestine, well, of course Palestine, but probably a lot of underdeveloped countries that don't have a say in anything. And the things in sports don't run the same in every country, and that's what I like to highlight. But for what I'm doing for my campaign, I want to introduce, and I've already introduced the ring for all the Olympians. So to have a ring which all the Olympians wear, and it's like a very little, not very, a small thing. It's not, it doesn't have to be very like Super Bowl-y. No, it's like very small. We do that in Canada when you become an engineer. And the second thing is to get the Olympians jobs. It's very easy. There's about, I don't know, the Olympics and sports are connected to trillion different companies, and all these companies can take on two people per year, two athletes per year, and that's going to be enough for an internship or anything. So I want to do some meaningful things. It's not just me being there, just whatever, and sitting there like nothing. But it's a big deal. It will be a big deal for Arabs in general if I become on the athlete commission. For it's a voice for us.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I really like that idea that you talked about, like being able to get jobs to all the Olympians who are competing, because I feel like that'll, especially in a sport like swimming that is not a very profitable sport money
yeah,
wise, it'll probably increase people's longevity and their ability to keep swimming past like one Olympics
yeah.
or past like just like the age of 20.
You'll be surprised. I mean, not just swimming, but all the sports, like the Olympic sports. You ask the person, you're like, "What are you doing?" They're like, I'm swimming." I'm like, "What are you doing later? What with your life?" You know. So they have no way after life, and what happens is they're trying to include dual career and whatnot into athletes, but they'll realize they'll go into a depression mode sometime, and it's because they've gone so high up in their career. They think so highly of themselves and whatever, and they're not ready for the next job. And they go job seeking, unless they're a coach or something. They go job seeking, they realize the real world is doesn't care if you're an Olympian or not. They care if you can do the job properly. So in your experience. So that's something that people need to do before they start to swim, not during,
Yeah.
not at the end. Okay, so that's the sad reality is if you just stick your head to swimming or anything, you're gonna finish and you'll realize that you have to have the rest of your life to deal with. So
You know,
we'll
there's
help them. Mhm.
there's at least like a few examples I can think of in the US of people who've been very successful while still handling full-time jobs. So it seems like at least there's been people trying to prioritize that more, and like probably like ideas like yours that getting people more jobs and getting them focused on like, yeah, enjoy this time when you're competing with like the best in the world, but
Mhm.
make sure that it's not the only thing that you have ready for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, even locally, there's a guy who was on the U.S. national team who competes at my college pool, who he's like in his 30s and he's got a full-time job, and he is going like the fastest he's ever gone.
Yeah.
So for a
No,
lot of these people, it can even bring them more balance and make them happier in what they're doing.
if it works good for you, you should do it. But you can't like I think about the human aspect, and I'm more on because I'm Palestinian, right? So my parents are not going to let me just swim. That's not a thing. I finished my degree, and then I was able to kind of, go into swimming more. I know that's not the case for all the countries. I know it's not, but boohoo, you're from America. It's a win. Sometimes it's a lose. In the swimming, it's definitely a lose. Uh, but no, you can definitely balance and do all this stuff. But honestly, I'll be completely honest, and maybe you'll hear this not from a lot of people, but you, for me, if you can't balance both, you make a priority. And 95% of the time, for 95% of the people, swimming should not be your priority. It should be your life, your studies, and all that kind of stuff. That's my opinion on things because, if you're from a country like America and you're swimming and you're trying to qualify for the Olympics, well, they take the top two, and Michael Phelps is one of them. So then, so the reality is you have to invest your time in where it's worth it. And if you're going to be a Dumbo, then do what you want. But it was like those people like nobody's going to tell me what to do. I'm gonna follow my dreams. Like, oh, bro, like be realistic. At least that's what I think. And maybe because I've lived a different life and I do different things, but I think there should be a balance, more on just not throwing yourself because you have an ambition to reach the Olympics, and then you spend 4 years of your life and you don't even make the finals of Olympic trials. Okay,
You know,
there you
you
go.
talk about like that level of competition at like U.S. trials. There was events sometimes like last year, like in women's backstroke, there was people who were eighth at trials or
Mm.
didn't make the final at trials who would have finaled at world championships or would have medaled at
Yeah,
world championships. It's insane, like how fast the level of competition has gotten. But that same
yeah,
guy that I was talking about, who like is in his 30s and he's working full time, he actually did what you said. Like he was one of those people who prioritized just swimming, and he went to school and he got like a liberal arts degree, and he ended up being really, really depressed. And he went through
mm,
that process of realizing what he needs to be prioritizing.
yeah.
And now he works at we have like a government funded lab like about like 10 minutes from where I live, and they do that like right before we moved here they discovered like a new element there, so they do like a ton of
Okay,
crazy stuff over there.
that's cool.
And
Mm.
he like in his late 20s went back to school, got a full degree, and I think physics or some sort of engineering,
Mhm.
and now works there full time, and he'll swim like in the morning for like an hour and a half. And I've talked to him about it, and he's like, and he told me like it like you said, it doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't work for everybody to
Yeah.
be able to swim and like do a full time job and still balance like all of that.
Hmm.
But I think you're exactly right. Like prioritizing your studies and
Well,
your
you
job and your life.
prioritizing what you will need to
Yeah.
do. For some people, prioritizing swimming is the thing to do. Okay, what if you're I'll give you a case. It depends on you and your situation. It's unique. Everybody's situation can't be put into one little, mix and given. Let's say you're from Palestine, okay, and you're the only swimmer, and you have a year. Why not prioritize swimming? Because you're more of, let's say, guaranteed a spot
Yeah.
or very close, right? So if you could get top two in the US, why, how many times, how many,
Oh, I think I might have lost
but
you
if
there.
it's oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're back. You're back.
No, okay. Sorry. I was saying if you're from the US and you have a chance, you go for it. But if it's unrealistic, that's something else. So you have to be realistic about your what you're doing. And in the US, I think 20 people in an event should be taking swimming seriously. if okay, let's say 100 people, top 100 in the country should be taking swimming seriously for the two spots that they need. Okay. But if 3,000 people are taking it, the guys on the end of the 3,000 are really pushing it. They're really, being a little bit unrealistic and that's going to go. And sometimes people are not happy with the fact that they've given their best. You know, they're just happy with results, that they wanted in their head. Like they want to go to the Olympics. But if they got a PB, like a 3-second PB, they're not going to be happy. And so you have to enjoy when you give your best, and that's all you got to do. You can't do more. I'm not going to give you more than my best. That's not possible. So how, you just got to appreciate where you are. But it's become really toxic, and especially in well, I was in the Netherlands for a bit. When you're on the national team, then it's really toxic because they might kick you off the national team. And then when you're below the national team, you want to go up to the national team. And it's just a really toxic place. And it's like, you're not happy. You're not doing the sport the right way. And I mean, you just got to be happy. You just got to give your best and just, but fortunately, that's how it works.
There's
But
that
yeah,
old
so for
mantra
me,
of a happy swimmer is a fast swimmer.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's I definitely have a biased view, and I really understand that, and especially for me, because I mean, I work, I run a factory now, right? 40 people, so I own my own business. It's a completely different aspect from when I was swimming, when I was studying and swimming. Now it's almost impossible to swim. I thought, studying aerospace engineering while swimming was hard. No, try running a business. It is not possible. I mean, business, you work, a 9 to 5 job or school, like you have homework, you can put it aside. Business is like, you got to do it now. And if you don't run it now, the business will fail and you will lose all your life savings. Try
Well,
to swim.
definitely one of those things takes priority.
Exactly. So I'm learning. I'm still trying to get over a hurdle. I was doing it, a really hard degree and I was able to swim, but this is a bigger hurdle. I'm trying to get over how to have not a full-time job. Running a business in a factory is 4 full-time jobs. It's now 9 at night, and I came back from the factory at 8. No, nobody
That's
does
pretty
that.
busy. Yeah.
It's pretty busy, and it's making decisions with your life savings. That, it's not when it's somebody else's money, yeah. But when it's yours, you have people to take care of. You have 40 people to make sure they're doing the right thing. Try to go swim. And we're like, even in the swimming pool, you have to take out your phone. You make sure nobody called you because a client calls in, you need something. And if you don't answer, they might not get the order, and so there we go.
And then you lose that
That's it.
business.
It's not easy, not easy, but I'm trying to figure out and inshallah, like hopefully, um, like I said, well, to qualify for the Olympics for Palestine, the way is so you got to do two things. First is you either got to compete in one of the world championships, which was Fukuoka or Doha. So that's one of the criterias. The second is to be the highest ranking according to the FINA points. You know the FINA point scale?
Yeah.
You have to be the highest one in the country. So if you've achieved both of those, you're able to go to the Olympics. They'll pick one girl and one boy.
It's a pretty strict criteria. Sp-
Yeah, yeah.
I spoke with an Egyptian athlete named Yusuf Al Kamash a few weeks ago, and
Mhm.
he expressed a lot of, like, I guess not discomfort, but he expressed a lot of distaste with the Olympic quota as a whole, and like the idea of only having one athlete or two athletes from each country.
Yeah, yeah.
and like just how he wished it was done differently and done just based off of times. But I feel like doing it based off of times and eliminating the quota thing as a whole would
Yeah,
would take away opportunity from. Oh, I'm so sorry. Take away
yeah,
opportunity from these countries that typically wouldn't have an athlete qualify or wouldn't be represented.
yeah. So you can say that when you feel, and I'm gonna be very careful with my words, but when you feel like the world owes you something because you've worked hard, you usually tend to say that. So, for example, when you're playing a game, okay, and you've gone to such a high level in that game, you start to think others, when they play the game, you look down at them because, oh, I'm at a high level, and hey, look at me, I've done so much work, and you look at the others and you say, you know, "Ugh, you got nothing." But in reality, you have to realize some of these countries don't have pools,
Yeah,
you know? And you don't have an Olympics is a world games. It is not for just a few set countries. Because if that was the case, then we would have a completely different view on the Olympics. It's a world game. World Championships is a world championships. You have to see the level of every country. If the country's shit, so it's shit. That's the level, you know. So the quota thing actually is for it's to include the countries that would not have qualified otherwise. And so, for example, Palestine would not have gone to any Olympics. Is that nice? It's
I
nice, of course, to
personally don't
qualify.
think so. I personally love
Yeah,
the quota system.
yeah. I mean, but become when you start to qualify yourself or your country's all good at qualifying, like for example, if you're an American, you look at the quota place, you're like, oh my God, I've tried all this stuff. And then these kids from all these other countries, they don't deserve to be here. And you know what? You got to tell those people, and I'm facing with it, you got to tell those people, you know what? It sucks to suck. It sucks to suck. Europe sucks to suck. You know, hey, good thing you don't make the rules and you just got to follow them. So, okay. And, but, these, you'll be surprised. These small countries are when they see, because it's not like America. I mean, it's great when America wins a medal or this, but, with these small countries and you'll have one swimmer from, um, Papua New Guinea, not Papua New Guinea, that's but like the small island countries, the whole country flips upside down when they see one of their athletes over there, right? And so it's just, it's so nice to see your country, even though you don't get to see the flag a lot, but when you see it, like it's good, So, anyways, there's different ways to seeing things, but you should never look down on people. That's just something you always if you're looking down on somebody saying they don't deserve to be here, you gotta watch how you're thinking and if that's the right way of thinking. But I know a lot of people that don't, they feel like they're on a higher level than everybody. So there we go.
You talked about like the seeing that flag that like seeing a flag for a country that you don't typically see.
Yeah.
And this most recent World Championships that you were at, I think it was something like 18 different countries won gold medals.
Yeah.
And there's a number of
Yeah.
countries who'd never even won a medal before.
Yeah. No, it was I mean that one was this World Champs was a complete it was not I wouldn't Fukuoka was a nice World Champs. Yeah, I've been to a bunch of these. This one was a little bit on the much weaker side. There was I mean it's not the time to race. It's quite a weird time, especially all the NCAA kids there. Not the time to do anything. A lot of people didn't come. People didn't care. I mean, it was. I don't know why it was placed in that time. I kind of do because it is a three-year Olympic cycle rather than four, and they wanted to give a chance for more people. Usually there's just one world champs in the middle between the 2 years. But and even to make semis, for example, in the 100 bag, usually it's a 53 one to make semis or something, and now it was a 54 something, right? So there was
Yeah.
yeah.
There was a few
So
events that like the level of depth still was there, but it was mainly just because a lot of people stepped up.
yeah.
Like the men's 100 freestyle, I think last year it took like 48 flat to final,
Mm,
and this year only
mm,
took like 48 one. So there's a few events where like the level of depth was still at a higher level, but like there
yeah.
was an equal amount of events I felt like where things were 2 seconds slower, 3 seconds slower.
Yeah. I mean, it's an opportunity for the let's call it the lions that don't get, the hungry bystanders to eat a piece of something, which is good. It's always nice. It's always nice. It makes swimming more interesting. I mean, swimming is quite usually people like to watch sport because it's unpredictable, like soccer or American football. Swimming is very predictable. Like you'll know either this guy will win or this guy will win, or they'll make the final. There's no way some Palestinian will ever make a final. But in a football game, maybe they make some mistakes and a Palestinian would win. And this is why our sport is not very interesting.
It's definitely been a challenge getting more people to tune into swimming and make it more popular on a global stage.
It's quite popular at the Olympics. It's the most watched sport at the Olympics. So I think it makes up for it because it's really watched in the Olympics, and the Olympics is the most watched sporting event. So every 4 years is where we get our time to shine, and then for the next four. Yeah,
So you talked about going to college in Canada, and this was something I really wanted to touch on. Um, did you get to fully compete with the team there? Were you practicing there?
I did. I did. I went to Carleton University, and first year I got kicked off the team because I just didn't show up to training and was faster than all the kids there. And then I went to a local club called Nepean Kanata Barracudas. Um, and then came back. There's a guy called Pierre Lafontaine. Have you heard of Pierre Lafontaine?
The name rings a faint bell.
So he was the head coach of Canada. He's now the head coach of the Chinese team. He's the guy for the breaststroke guy.
I think I definitely know the name.
Yeah.
He's
So
the
he
finished that world record holder from last year.
so yeah, so he's quite big in the swimming community. So I just met him randomly, and then somehow he's ended up coaching my university team. So I came back, swam with him, got a lot better in a year's time. I was focusing on swimming, and I went from like, well, at that point I stopped swimming for 2 years or something, and then I did my first race. I went 59 100 back short course, which was a very bad time because I haven't swam. And then a year later, exactly, I went 56 long course. So in a
That's
year,
a pretty big jump.
yeah, I mean, I did swim before, and that was a shit race. So excuse my language, but yeah, you get the idea. Like a whoop, like a big with Pierre, and then he had to go to China, and I moved back to Dubai. I started working, and then I went to live in the Netherlands. I swam there with a bit with the national team, and so yeah, I just went all over the world, and I'm in Dubai now. I was born in Saudi. I'm also half Italian, so my nationality is Italian. Did my master's degree in the UK, so all around.
Yeah, world traveler. I mean,
Yeah.
it must have been pretty at least like interesting and engaging to get to do to get to train with such a large variety of people.
Yeah, it's really cool. I get to learn stuff about the world. I mean, with swimming, you get to experience a lot of things. You get to travel, so it's very nice. It's very nice. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. It's it's an experience. I People, you get to learn the cultures, and you'll never, with swimming, it's like when I went to the Netherlands, I'm like, I would never ever be here if it wasn't for swimming. I just went there and I was swimming with the team. I was like, what other reason would let me live in a country for 3 months randomly? It doesn't make any sense. No, it really doesn't.
Yeah,
You know? So, uh, yeah, like I'm very fortunate to be able to do that because also I was more or less guaranteed to go to world champs and all that kind of stuff, right? So I was able to say, you know what, let's go ahead. I think if I was not guaranteed, it would be a little harder to train and say, okay, I might not get a result from this, but this is what I have to live my life. I can't live the life of everybody and what their country is going on and how fast they are and their chances. So I just got to do what I got to do.
yeah. Yes, and
Yeah.
this has been a really, really interesting, really engaging conversation. Like, I'm really glad that we got to sit down and talk.
Appreciate that.
I unfortunately have to
Yeah.
go get started with my job for the day.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah, it was nice to talk to you. And like I said, I'm very keen on maybe let's say after Paris, if you firstly master swimming, that's something I'm very interested in right after Paris. And if you'd like to swim for masters, that's also not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. It's a good thing. We want to have a team, like a masters team, and create a community of Palestinian swimmers. You
I'd
know,
be more than down.
um, yeah. So that's important. Also, people if you know anybody that wants to be on the Palestinian team, um, keep an eye on the Palestinian level here and there and who's competing at Worlds and in that. See if the level is either equivalent or higher end then, and definitely let me know and we'll try to get them on the team, try to get them to go compete. So you can be like a funnel of people, somebody meets
Yeah,
you and be like, hey, yeah, yeah, he's Palestinian, this guy's is going to get better. I think that's a perfect opportunity for us to bring talent to the right sorts. And if you bring them to me, I'm able to, of course, do more than the average. So a lot of good stuff, and really appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah, and nice to meet you. And looking forward. I always see your vlogs every now and then. I'm looking forward to see like little, scraps and things from like motivational quotes for swimmers.
I've got
I look
more that I
forward to it.
want to post because I've done like almost 50 interviews now. So I
Yeah,
have like 50 hours worth of footage that I can just pull from
yeah.
and
Pull
make
like
something from.
some famous guy and
Yeah.
just talking about it. Just tag, like get the Instagram and tag it, sponsored or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was a pleasure to talk to you.
I,
And
I do have one more question for you though.
yeah,
This one's more on the
yeah,
personal side of things.
yeah,
I'm gonna be in Dubai in the end of March, March 30th to April 13th, and I'm looking for a place for my younger brother to swim. And I'm wondering if you
yeah,
know of any clubs or any pools that would
yeah.
be willing to have an athlete traveling come and swim with them a few times.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is a club called Speedo Swim Squads. Okay.
Let me write this down.
S Speedo. When are you coming? The March?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there March 30th to April 13th. Because my brother recently moved there for work, so we're coming to visit him.
Okay. I might. So I'm leaving to China around that. I'll be probably back before the 13th, but maybe in that case we'll meet. Yeah, Speedo Swim Squads is good. Hamdan Sports Complex. Write that down. That's the pool. This pool is it held worlds multiple times. It's a very good pool. A monthly pass will run you back about not that much. A weekly pass is about, I'm gonna say $30
It's not bad
a
at all.
weekly pass. And there's a gym, there's a 50-meter pool that's better than any pool in the US. I'm not even
Yeah.
joking about that.
Oh, I've
But
seen some of
nobody's
like the Middle East pools. They're really good.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. And nobody swims. So
So they'll have a
it's
lot of
empty.
room.
Yeah. So yeah, Hamdan Sports Complex. But if he'd like to train with a team, Speedo Swim Squads, you know, it's, that's my team, and let them know that they know me, and should be good.
Awesome, man. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. This has been
appreciate that.
great.
Thank you so much. All
You
right.
have a good rest of your night.
You too. All right. See you.
Yeah, hopefully we'll talk
Bye.
again soon.
Absolutely. Let me know, and I'm waiting. I watch your podcast. So,
Yeah.
anyways, see you. See you. Bye.
Have a good night.